Quick rundown, guys. I finally got this engine mostly apart. Here's my two smoke blowers, which are took me a little while to work out what's happened here. Well, it's obvious it's melted the piston. All of the ones on the right hand bank are damaged. 5's not quite so bad, but it took me a little while to work out what's gone wrong. This is the quench area, this is the spark plug side. This one's not a great example, but the heat has been underneath the quench area, basically finishes around here. And it appears what's happened is, before it's got to this stage, I can show you on one that's not completely melted. Even these, they were all damaged, even the other bank. So it's heating up around here first, hitting the top of the ring, deteriorating the top of the ring land. It's all been overheated and gone dull. It should all be shiny like this. This has been overheated. Around here is still okay. So it's, once you get under the quench area, very thin through here, and that's exactly what's happened as it's heated up. This is because I think it's because there's too much ignition timing. These are a very fast burn combustion chamber, as it turns out, and I've had about 34 degrees in it, which is great for cast iron heads probably, or most of the Chev stuff, but for these AFRs I've read that some people have run as little as 28 total timing, so potentially I could be 6 degrees out, which on an engine like this, that's just way too much. So what that has caused is the flame fronts coming across here. Normally this area would be opening up as the piston starts going down. Instead, we're pretty much squashing the fire and forcing it around here and overheating in an area that it normally wouldn't see any combustion. That's what I'm determining, and although this has probably been like it for a little while, the reason I believe it's come to the front is I put a 3-to-1 diff in it, which is again put more load on the top end where there's less power. So while you've got your foot right up it, you're putting more load onto it, which will give you a big problem. And then I ran it out of fuel at Sandown as well in a high load situation, and that's what's brought this to the front. But it no doubt would have come about anyway, but all the bearings have been hammered as well because of detonation, so they're all pretty glossy. One or two of them have, this one particularly has obviously had a high spot on the rod, I think I found. I could feel it in the end. Yeah, so you won't be able to see it, you can only feel it. There's just a littlest high spot there. Actually, it won't be, it'll be on the other side. Anyway, I won't go into all of that. I've inspected all of that. We've got to resize all the rods, bend the crankies, and I'm just I've just bought new bolts. Unfortunately, they're not exactly the same. They've got another extra millimetre of head, so I'm not sure how that's going to go on my clearance, but that's a standard ARP part. You've got to buy these off scat as far as I can tell, and yeah, I just can't find a part number for this kit. I'm sure it exists, but they haven't got back to me, so we'll wait and see what's going to happen there. But if you can't buy the bolts easily for these scat rods, you must be able to, because they're common size, and they're the same size as Manly ones. Just the Manly part number has got more head, well, it's actually got more pull-up face here by 1 millimetre, which is a good thing, but not as it adds. It'll be a problem with the throw. It might touch the block or something, I don't know. I'll check that. If I have to use them, I'll run them, because that's what I've got. But if I can get these correct ones without it costing me an arm and a leg, we'll source those and take back the Manly ones to VPW. So I've got a plan to solve the fuel issue as well, so that I don't have any of this running out again. So I'm going to put a pump in the tank to supply my surge tank. this shouldn't be too hard. I can get the top off my tank, so that's another little mission. I'm going to change the engine mounts on my car. I'll give you a little look, because this has still got the standard Holden ones. So I'm going to be cutting, I'll be knocking these off. You're allowed to do that, and I'll be making up, I'll probably stick with the same mounts on the block, but I'm going to be basically putting two of these together with a tube through, and I'll be making a mount that will contain these, so this will go in the car on the same actual line. They'll basically be somewhere, you know, around here like so that'll give it some compliance. I've also got to get the oil tank out. I've got a heater to apply to that, and I need to fix up this hard line for the brake. Is becoming problematic. It's in the way of everything now. It's been moved a couple of times for various add-ons. Like the drain in the tank there, it used to go up under there, but you use that a lot. So yeah, I'll have to make a new hard line while the engine's out. It's not hard. So yeah, a few little jobs to get done. I've got 3 weeks to wait for I've got flash new JE pistons, which I'm really looking forward to seeing. So I can't bore or do anything until they arrive. Crankies want to polish this. It's had a bit of a touch. I don't think there's any damage there. They'll just polish it to resize the rods, and that should be the size of it, hopefully. Anyway, I think that's the cause of all my woes, was ignition advance, plus running out of fuel, and yeah, just putting it in a bad situation. And so there's more than one thing has gone wrong, but certainly my naivety of these heads, which work really well, but of course you can only go on what you've known from the past, so they don't tell you anything like that. But we'll be taking this to the dyno this time, which I should have done first time, but we were in such a rush to get it all going and get it in the car. I took it to a chassis dyno to run the engine in, run the rings in and things, and that worked fine, but of course you don't get the data that you will off a engine dyno. So I think I've got enough time to make it if the pistons arrive when they're meant to, which we can't guarantee that. They're coming from Summit in the States. Well, they'll be coming from JE probably directly. But yeah, the next meeting is the last one of the season down at Phillip Island, and we've got 9 weeks. So if I do get it together and get it on a dyno, it'll give me like probably 4 days to get this thing in, which is not really a problem as long as everything else with the fuel tank's done and everything's back out. You'll see it now. It only takes me a couple of hours probably to get that in. I'm going to put another thing on a probe on the headers as well, so I can change my air fuel gauge on. Having it on one side is not good enough. If I had it on the other, or if you think you're having a problem, it's just easy to swap that over quickly. If you haven't got it in, it's you can't use it. And eventually, I guess we'll want them on both sides for if we want to do any data logging. Anyway, the seal's not leaking this time. So we fixed the clutch, and we've got all new clutch plates to go in. So yeah, we should be good. Not plenty of spare parts to go in and do this right, but as always, it's going to be race the clock. So anyway, I'll put this up and see if anyone has got any other opinion on what might have happened to this. But that's now that I've thought about it and I've read, and there's a lot of stuff, a lot of motorbike stuff. Those guys seem to do this damage to their pistons a lot, the two-stroke guys, and it's always cylinder pressure, mixture, fuel. I was concerned with the fuel initially, but I don't think that's. It could be a little bit of all, but certainly too much advance would. Now that I've understanding what I'm seeing, that that would certainly appear to be the main cause here. But anyway, I'm just getting over the flu, lads, so I'm off work at the minute, but I thought I'd come out and do this, going back to bed. Alright, see you later.